All right, Samuel Fisher, welcome to the Benjamin A Show. I'm happy to have you, dude. So let's start with what do you do, and kind of explain your what you do full time and what you do on social media.
Thanks for having me again. So basically, I started getting involved in politics about, I would say, 4 years ago. No, 5 years ago now. Back in 2020, during the presidential election, and I really just saw. I actually, in the beginning, believe it or not, I was more leaning liberal, but just because I wasn't as educated as I was until I actually started looking into the candidates and realizing like, oh wow, I can see a stark difference and. I did my research and became more educated. And then I became a Republican. I couldn't vote yet. I was only, I think I was like 17 at the time. So now I'm 20 years old. Since then, I've just been posting on social media, political content, and I've done some podcasts before too with some people in politics, not necessarily politicians, but people who were running for office in the past and are now just like regular people. I've done that, and then also I'm currently go to the college at the University of Alabama, where I'm involved with Turning Point. And I was in the beginning involved with college Republicans too, but things get busy, so you can't do everything once you're on campus. That's what I've realized, because school's a full-time job as well. So uh, other than right now, I'm just a college student. I'm a junior. I'll be graduating in 2027. But in the meantime, for my political side of things, I just post on Instagram, Reels, and Facebook too. But I've also started branching out and creating other bigger pages. So I run Caroline Levitt HQ. Um, that's got like 730K plus followers now, and it grew from that in like 7 months. So it's not been like a I haven't had that account for that long, but it's just crazy to see too that people have woken up, especially after what happened with Charlie Kirk. It's just like I feel like the support for the Republican Party has just been like way more intense now because people are waking up, and so I think that probably was a contributing factor with that account. But it's just really nice to be able to not only just be like a regular person who posts on social media, because a lot of people post like meaningless things. And so for what I do post, like I like to be able to like to not necessarily educate people, but that too, but also I like to just keep people informed, whether that's on my page or that other page. So yeah. What about you?
Yeah, I like that. I actually have a very similar uh, story and arc. I guess not necessarily to when you started posting. I'm a little more new at that. But similarly, I was in high school. We're the same age. I'm also a junior in college
Okay.
at North Greenville University in upstate South Carolina. But I had a very similar political, I guess, ideology journey in that in 2020. I think when you're in school and you don't talk to a lot of people, especially in middle school and high school, about politics, you tend to lean more left naturally. And as I was talking more and more with my parents about it and kind of doing my own research, becoming, I guess, intelligent enough and educated enough to understand social policy, fiscal policy, all of the different things, I started leaning more towards right as well. And obviously, we'll never go back because I see the light now. So I guess that story I feel like is fairly common for especially young males due to, as you mentioned, uh, the late Charlie Kirk and other influencers such as Tucker Carlson, Benny Johnson, Candace Owens. Is that something that you've experienced as far as like people young men that are similar in age? Have you seen a similar story when COVID was kind of the great awakening of maybe they're lying to us about these vaccines and these mask mandates are bogus and maybe we should really start asking questions when the people that are treating our sickness are also the people that stand the most to gain from it.
Yeah, 100%. Especially that's honestly too one of the things that I did look into whenever I was trying to figure out who, I mean, like, because at the time of being si 15, 16, 17 years old, you can't even vote yet. So I was just like,
I think the voting
all I
age is
could,
right where it
yeah,
needs to be.
yeah, no, it
It's
is,
a great testament to it.
but I'm just like, whenever I was that age, knew I wouldn't be able to vote, but I took that time as kind of a period to research more and like educate myself. And whenever I saw, and also, I mean, you went through COVID during high school, right?
Hmm.
I went through COVID during high school. My freshman year in high school is when it happened, and then everything was going all great, and then all of a sudden, all the shutdowns happened. No one knew what was happening. Everyone thought it was the end of the world. And but honestly, too, whenever I saw all that the way they dealt with COVID, and a lot of young men in America feel the same way, especially the way they isolated us. They told us to stay here, like we all like had to comply with all these different orders, and just basically quit living. And whenever I saw that happen in America, I was like, wow, this is insane. That was one of my wake up calling points, like you said too. So yeah, I do agree with that. And I think that COVID was honestly not just used, or I wouldn't say used, but I don't think it was just like, oh, yeah, force people to be inside. I think it had a much bigger meaning and bigger agenda behind it. They wanted us all to be scared of each other.
Fear and
They wanted
control.
us to, yeah, they want
Yeah.
us to be fearful to live. They wanted us to kind of, I guess, have some sort of reliance on the government for everything, trying to make it where you basically, it did obviously work, but they wanted you to have to always make sure that you listen to them, and they wanted to instill fear inside of everybody, thinking that, oh, this might happen if I don't do the right or what they called right when it was actually wrong. Um, but yeah, whenever I was like, because I experienced firsthand like COVID, it messed me up bad just as a person, social. Like it made me antisocial. I had to relearn how to be social, especially when I came to college. Like I was doing a fraternity, like going around, and it was very very hard to put myself back out there and just like talk to people, like have normal conversations, because also the other people you're trying to have a conversation with don't even know how to do that anymore, just because it hurt everyone more than what people actually think. So yeah, I do agree with that. COVID was really a wake up call for a lot of people.
Yeah, we are extremely social creatures, and I can attest to I shared a very similar experience, and that was looking back a very dark time because I'm a very social person. I wouldn't go as far as to say I don't know extrovert, but definitely ambivert at least. Being I think for me personally, I stayed home the first semester simply because I was an athlete and I had kind of made the decision, hey, basketball is important to me. I don't want to go and get kicked off the team for 3 weeks because I get COVID from somebody. So, not even out of fear of getting it, it was just of the restrictions that the school and the government was putting on everybody. I decided I should stay home. And I think a lot of people made very similar decisions. A lot of people were forced into getting the vaccine because they have to travel, they have to go to work, they have to provide for their families. And I think it's definitely a testament to God's plan is bigger and brighter than all of us can see, because even in such a dark time, I think the net positive was that a lot of people did wake up and see that everything isn't necessarily as presented. And I don't even know how we could make it to 2020 without realizing that, the government does not have our best interests at heart. So, but moving on from that, you mentioned your Turning Point affiliation and your involvement with the on campus chapter there. How did you get involved with them? And what has Turning Point been like since obviously the murder and execution of Charlie Kirk?
Yeah, so I'm actually not like when I said I was involved with Turning Point, I just go to like some of their events and stuff. I really don't I'm not like I don't hold any executive position on the chapter here on campus. But
Well,
and also
unto that, what have you seen out of your Turning Point chapter since then, and what have they done on campus?
yeah, they've brought a lot of like really good speakers. Like yesterday they had two speakers come. I can't remember exactly who they were by name, but I do believe I think one of them was a pastor, and then another one was, I can't remember what he was, but I know that they talked a lot about abortion and stuff like that, and just like pro life messaging to students here on campus. But they also in the past have had like a lot of different speakers, and it's really just cool whenever they do bring new speakers. You get to go and you get to listen to what they have to say, and you can it helps educate you a little more. So I do believe that what Turning Point does on campus in the past has been great, but the last event that I did go, or not the last one, but the first one of the, I don't actually, it was I think second or third meeting of the year. It was packed. Like when I tell you this was the most amount of people I've ever seen, it's usually about like 10, 15, 20 people max at any meeting in the past, like the past 3 years I've been here. Um, but this time after what happened after Charlie Kirk's assassination, um, it was flooded. It had probably 200 people in this meeting. And it was actually very impactful just to see that not only like I guess because like once you're on a college campus, I don't know if you feel the same way, but as a conservative, when you're on a college campus, you might feel like there's not that many people who are. Like you feel like sometimes it's like a one man show sometimes. But whenever you go to a meeting like that and see that it's packed and you see people who you never would have thought would be there because you thought, oh, they probably don't believe the same things I believe. And then you see them there, it's like, wow, it's like a refresher. It's like really good and reassuring to see, and it helps a lot. It's not, and also too, whenever they have big meetings like that, it's more than just like a meeting. It's a place where you get to network with people, because those people in that chapter meeting are one day going to be out in the workforce and politics and positions, and it's really cool to be able to meet people with like-minded interests and just surround yourself with those types of people.
Yeah. I mean, I would never go as far as to call what happened to Charlie a good thing, but of course, God uses horrific things and evil to bring good things to the world. And certainly, as soon as that happened, that was one of the thoughts that comforted me personally. I was sick to my stomach that day. Just knowing what had just happened and the person that we had just lost, as influential as Charlie was in my own ideological journey, I knew immediately that I think that that was going to pull together and only further Charlie's voice and his movement in bringing the youngest generation of voters further to the right, and not to radicalize them, but the left is so radical to me at this point, and the middle has moved so far left that radical is right at this point to me. So to bring people that are so far left back to the center was something that almost took something to the level of what happened. And again, not grateful for what happened, but I'm grateful for the reaction and all of the prayer and all of the movement that is happening as a result of it.
Yeah, and I'm not very happy with what happened at all. It actually enrages me and it makes me very angry just as because I was not, I wouldn't say close to Charlie, but I definitely looked up to him. He was one of my biggest mentors. He was someone I looked up to more than most in the movement just because he was a real person. He wasn't like like all those other political people who get on and like just don't say what they believe. No, when he says something, he means it. And if he doesn't think that he knows enough about something, he goes, researches, formulates his own opinion, and then tells people what he has to say. He doesn't sit there and try to beat around the bush. He never was the type to try to please other people for um, like if they didn't like what he said, he just wouldn't care. Not that that's a bad, not that that's a good thing, but it's also not a bad thing. Um, but yeah, back to what you were saying, I'm not happy at all with what happened, but I am trying to think of a way to put this. But I am very happy to see people wake up from what had happened with Charlie. Just because I honestly thought for so long that I was like, wow. I mean, I don't understand how people can be this way and treat Republicans a certain way just because they don't agree with them. I never would do that, even if because I have like actually to be honest, I have majority of my friends at college are Democrats. They're liberals. They are. But there's not a single point in time that I've heard any of my friends that are Democrat and liberal say after what happened, before I even knew what had happened, one of my friends reached out to me and he was like, "Hey, did you see what happened? That's awful." And they never were sympathizing, but then you had the majority of the left who were talking and celebrating what had happened, which is absolutely disgusting. Uh, I just really now that aspect of it I don't appreciate either, but um, I do think that what is happening, and I don't even think that it's necessarily just stemming from Charlie Kirk's assassination either. I think that it has to do with what God's doing. Um, I think that God is moving in a lot of people's lives now, and I think that it's bigger picture than just Charlie Kirk's assassination. Just because I don't want to sit here and be like, oh, I'm thankful for um, how people are reacting, because at the end of the day, I don't think that it's just the people. I think that it's what God's putting and moving on people. So I'm more thankful for that aspect of it. But that's what I had to say about that.
For sure. So, speaking on your social media accounts, you mentioned that you have more than one. Do you have an idea of like total follower count across all the accounts? If
I
you
would
don't,
say,
it's okay. Just
no, I was about to
curious.
say, I mean, it's definitely probably at least a million, I would
Hmm.
think. Yeah.
So,
Because I have my account, and then I have Caroline Levitt HQ, and then I have a couple other smaller ones that just,
yeah.
yeah.
So, with having a million followers on Instagram, obviously that carries a lot of weight because your voice means something and it matters, and people listen and tune in when you speak, when you post. So, do you ever worry that the algorithm of social media creates an echo chamber where you're not creating enough reach to the left to bring people to the right? Or do you think that it adequately reaches um, left? And just kind of speak onto the broader picture of where we are as a society with social media. Are we only seeing the views that, or the side of the aisle that we currently agree with? Or do you think that we equally see both sides on social media?
Yeah, that's actually a really good question. I haven't heard that one. But I think that honestly, the what I try to do at least is, especially with my social media, I try to um, not necessarily appeal to the left, but I do try to make my post to where they are able to show up on the left's algorithm. So I do some like tweaking and like in the wording and stuff, and I do a lot of researching before I even post. So because if I don't do that, then it doesn't really reach them. Because for one thing, there's algorithms. Algorithms are going to be algorithms, and if you're a conservative Republican and you're on Instagram and you're scrolling, you obviously like a lot of the same like Republican content. That's basically like all you. I mean, you're obviously not going to like the left's piece of content, but with that, I think that honestly, just the way the algorithms are set up, but it's been that way forever. I don't think that it's a censorship issue on that side, but I would say that like it's just the way that they have it set up to show you what you like more of, and they don't really show like I don't really get often left's point of views on my social media just because I don't like it. Like
Yeah. Not even
I
not
don't
even in a negative
yeah
way, but I feel like you're
yeah
incentivized obviously
yeah
because if you want to grow a following, you want people to like and share your content. So
yeah
obviously you want to send that out to people that think similarly and are going to share it with people that think similarly. But do you think that there is a way that we could have more people reach out and follow left accounts? Is that something we need to call for on the right, or something that needs to be even higher up in like an Instagram or Facebook or TikTok algorithm where they share similar views if they're tagged on a political basis?
so are you like asking if I think that the left should be promoted more? Is that like what you're asking though?
Yeah, I guess speak to the broader. Do you think there's a certain method or strategy that we could use to see both sides better? I guess would be
Oh,
my clarifying point.
okay. I don't necessarily have an answer right off the bat, but I will say that I don't think that the left's content should be pushed any more than the right's. I think the algorithms should handle it, and I kind of trust in the algorithm just because like I've firsthand have seen like if I don't like something it doesn't pop up. Same thing with the left. Like if they don't like a piece of conservative content, it's not going to keep popping up because Instagram, for one, are not going to keep showing content that people aren't interested in. It's just not how they can make money. So they have to keep profitable. And if they kept showing the left pieces of content from the right, they are probably not going to be too happy with that. But honestly, I don't want to really see. I like to hear the left's point of view, but I do that on like X, and I look at those points of views on there. On Instagram, I don't really sit there and like scroll and look at other people's stuff. I usually use X because it's super up to date. It's like super fast. If you want to find out something, you can find it out on that platform. But with that, I think that X does a good job about showing everyone's points of views. I do think that X doesn't necessarily work the same algorithm as Instagram does, just because it's more of a news-based, political-based platform. You don't have other people on there really that are posting like what they do on Instagram and TikTok and all that. So that's what I think about that. And then your question was if I think that. Okay, can you restate what your question
You,
was?
you pretty much covered it there.
Okay, did I? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to be sure I've got them all because it
Yeah.
was like I think it was like three questions, and I wanted to make sure I got touched them all.
Yeah. I rephrased it. I don't think I asked the question very, very
Oh,
clearly. So good job
no, it's okay.
tackling that one. My
Yeah.
next one would be there are a lot of creators out there, especially on the right side, that even in recent years have kind of gone to bat against each other. You think Candace Owens, Ben Shapiro, Charlie Kirk, Tucker Carlson, all these different people with similar, yet there's a few that they're very opposing ideas on. Is there any that you find to be particularly on the straight and narrow, and any that you find to be off base more often than the others? And specifically on Candace Owens recently, what do you think of what's happening there? Because I think there's, specifically with her, she is really hard to read. Like, she posted one thing today that said that she had sent out to a bunch of friends kind of an insurance life plan with all of the people that are coming at her and sort of attacking her. And she said if she's assassinated, these people are allowed to release who that is. And I went and commented on that video and I said, if that's really true and you have all those things, share them now or stop lying about it. So do you think that, there's anybody in particular that's really on the straight and narrow and anybody that's not, and then specifically on Candace Owens?
So about that, I don't really know. Are you asking like if I think that one particular person is more truthful than the other? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, if you had sort of an 18-year-old that's just getting into politics, obviously my old answer used to be Charlie Kirk, but who would you push them towards now? Who would you tell them to stay away from? And specifically on your thoughts on Candace Owens currently.
I would
I know it's a
say
tough one.
no, because it's not necessarily tough, but I don't know. I don't know. Do you know who Brylan is?
I don't.
Okay,
No.
well, there's this kid, and his name's Brylan Hollyhand, and he's on Instagram. He's everywhere. I'm surprised you haven't seen him on X. I don't know if you want to pull him up.
Yeah, I'll look him up.
But he faced a lot of backlash because this kid, who is, I think he's 19 years old, was on a private jet.
Oh, it's that.
And,
Yes, I
and
know who
yeah,
that is. All right,
yeah,
I don't
so
need to
that
look
kid.
that.
So anyways, I mean, he's from Alabama too. He's from Tuscaloosa.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, that's one person that I don't know what it is, and especially with living in the same state
Mm-hmm.
as him and going and been to events and him have been literally 10 steps away from me. I don't know. There's just something off about him,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and I don't know what it is. And I don't want to sit there and like say bad things about him because I'm not the type of person. But it's just kind of weird how he's gotten his positions and like how after Charlie Kirk's assassination, all of a sudden his social media and just like everything, he's had New York Post write about him. All of a sudden he's had all this stuff just happen and saying that he's going on these Turning Point tours that are not actually put on by Turning Point. They're just him going and speaking at chapters that have requested him. Um, but then also, I mean, there's people who say that like right now that he's paid by APAC and all this. And so like actually the other day he had a campus tour and he was speaking. I don't know what college it was at exactly, but he had a couple students asking him some really good questions. And I mean, everyone knows what APAC is. You know what APAC is, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I
But
mean, like,
explain it for the viewers that don't, though.
okay, well, APAC is like this political action committee, and they are lobbyists who lobby our politicians in Congress um, to vote pro-Israel and vote in ways that help Israel. So that's what APAC is. But also, supposedly, they've been just this was just allegations because I don't want to say that they are for
Specifically, to
sure.
my knowledge, there's not another organization like it in the United
Yeah,
States government. Do you
there's
agree?
not.
Yeah.
I agree. But so I mean, they basically pay off people to vote in their ways, and they're from a foreign country, obviously, because Israel's not here. So that's where it becomes like kind of an issue, I feel like. Um, and so supposedly they've been paying. I'll get sorry, I'm kind of going all over the place, but um, supposedly they've been paying him some money or something. People have said it, and then the person asked him or whatever, and he was like, I don't know what APAC is, but I'm like, how do you that's just okay, for one thing, that is the worst answer you could possibly give
Yeah.
because everyone knows what it is.
The people in your
Um,
audience know what it is, bud.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's and then also he said that we're a melting pot here in America. America's a melting pot is what he said. So he believes that we should increase legal immigration here um because we can't have a country without not open he didn't say open the borders, but he says that we can't have a country that allows people to come in, and people didn't like that too much. So I don't really so that's one of the people that I would say to stay away from, just because also he is on the RNC Youth Advisory Council that does absolutely nothing. Like
Yeah. Jack,
they
I know what you're about to say. Jack
yeah.
shit is the
Yeah,
appropriate
thank you.
term.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know if I could say that, but
No,
yeah,
you're good.
jack shit. They do jack shit. And but they want to sit there and say that, oh, all this. And so like they had and also I just like even okay, so it's Brylan and CJ Pearson. Those two are like I don't know what it is about them, but they're always I mean they're with each other a lot and they're the two main people over the RNC Youth Advisory Council. But they're just really fishy people. I don't really know about them. So that's like Brylan is one of the people that I would say probably not to follow, like to listen to, or no, listen to him actually, because I still do, because I want to hear what he has to say. And then
Take it
like
with a grain of
learn,
salt, rather.
yeah, take it with
Yeah.
a grain of salt though, like very, very small grain of salt. Because it's even though he can say some good things, anybody can say some good things. Like
Right.
anybody can come up with something, say it on a camera, but it's the things that happen behind the scenes that you probably don't know about that you might want to look into. And then one of the people that I would say would probably be really trustworthy and like a good person to listen to still. That one's a hard one. I'm not gonna lie, that one's hard. But if I had to say, I mean, I like Candace Owens, I do. And I know that some people are gonna sit there and say that she might be lying, this and this, she's doing it for attention. But if anybody knows a lot about Charlie and about the things that he was talking about doing or wanting to do, it would probably be Candace, just because they started Turning Point together. Like she was with him on the ground
Mm-hmm.
whenever they
Right.
were in the very beginning phases. So I think that she does have some type of, like a good reasoning to listen to and actually hear what she's trying to say. Because also too, I mean, we know how it is. Like once you say something that is true, you get called, oh, you're lying, you're a conspiracy theorist, this and this and this, and then comes like a year later and it's like, oh, well, you're right, sorry. Like that's how it usually is. So I'm not saying she's right about everything that she has said, but I am saying that she is got a lot more information and like a different point of view that I feel like a lot of people should listen to.
Yeah. That's a great answer. And I don't want anybody to misconstrue what I said a few minutes ago about me thinking that she's lying about the life insurance policy stuff to be like a bashing Candace Owens fest, because that's not the case. I actually do like a lot of what she has to say, but I think the minute that we stop questioning whether it be government entities or any of these political influencers, and there's no checks and balances on them, that's when like blind trust is very scary. Not something that you ever want to do. Honestly, the only person that I ever started to grow close to blind trust in was Charlie. And I think that speaks to why he was assassinated. So
Yeah.
I love your answer there. As far as how did you say his name? Braylon?
It's Brylan Holyhand. Yeah.
Brylan. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw the picture and then watched a little bit of his content. And I think the reason that a lot of people feel the way that you do is because it was so tone deaf, I think, at the time. Like, we just had Charlie assassinated, and like it was days after, and he's posting this picture on a private jet. First of all, that's completely inauthentic, and not, even if it is authentic, like it's not relatable at all to anybody. The point of
No.
Charlie was that he started in college, in high school, the way anybody else could, and was super authentic, built himself up all the way, and was a super personable person in general. So the fact that he's going around and sharing these things right after, and it feels copycat like, to be honest.
Oh yeah, no, and that's another thing too. I guess what I'm trying to say about is like it's not necessarily. I mean, it just gives grift. It's like a grifting vibe
Yes.
to me. I don't know. But I mean, like, I just don't understand why he does some of the things that he does do, and also too, like, especially as you're a young man in America, I'm a young man in America, and one of the things that doesn't make me want to listen to somebody or make me, think that they're genuinely caring about things is someone who gets on a private jet and is saying they're heading to this, this, and this, and
Flexing money.
then yeah, basically flex, and you're in a looking like dressed nice or whatever. That's a different story. Like you can dress nice, but you don't, and also you can fly on a private plane. There's nothing wrong with that. But you don't just sit there and get on a plane and flex and say this and this and this. Like that is no good for you for one. I don't know who media trained that, because that's like one of the number one don'ts to do. I don't understand who even told him that was a good idea to post. Either he knew what was going to happen, because I mean, it's kind of common sense on what people are going to say about you.
He's
So
also a
maybe
kid,
he,
though. Like,
yeah,
ego is definitely a part of it.
but maybe he did it on purpose. Like
Yeah.
maybe he wanted the attention. I mean, he's been on Fox News a lot of times in the past, and uh, if I mean, maybe he just did this on purpose to get people so he could get his name, plastered everywhere. Because some people are like that. Like some people like to get. Some people say, like, I think it's even Roger Stone who said this. It was like it's better to be known for something bad than to be not known at all. That's, I think, what he said. It's not verbatim on what he said, but he was like basic. I don't know if you've heard that, but so maybe he was just doing it to try to get attention and get his name out there. But that's just not. That's proves that that's a grift right there.
I heard a
Um,
quote. I wish I could remember who said it, but the quote is essentially, if you ever see a picture of somebody on a private jet, it's not their jet. Because if you own it, it's not. You wouldn't post about it.
well, that's the other thing too. He was like, I mean, whose private jet even was it to begin with? That's what I want to know. But
It's a
then
good question.
too, he was like, yeah, my friend helped me out because I got done with classes late. This was his like basically what he was trying to say to people. He was like, yeah, my friend helped me out after I got out of class because he goes to college somewhere. And he was like, blah blah blah. I didn't have enough money to pay for my own plane ticket, so they helped me out. I'm like, come on now.
You're
It
traveling
costs,
everywhere and you don't have the
yeah.
money.
No, but also too, it costs more to fly on a private jet, whether that's your friend or not, than it does to buy a
Yeah,
plane
of
ticket.
course.
I mean, that's just not. And then it wasn't just one time either. It's like it's not he that time when he recorded that video, it was a really big. It wasn't really big, but it was a good size private jet. The
Yeah.
first time he posted a jet or an airplane, it wasn't a jet, it was just an airplane. Um, it was like a two-seater, I think. But even then, he was flying on a plane to go speak somewhere in the same state. I think. I think he went from somewhere in Alabama to another place in Alabama.
Yeah,
But
that's red flag.
and then also too, I mean, his dad, like his parents, like I don't really know. I mean, supposedly his parents have set him up to be where he's at, and I don't really know. But yeah, that's one of the people that I would just probably that's a person I choose to look at a distance and take what he says with a grain of salt.
Yeah. So each and every one of these political commentators, influencers, whatever you want to call them, have certain issues that they agree upon, certain issues that they disagree upon. But generally speaking, there, I feel like, are a core few issues right now that are hot button topics. You know, you have your abortion, you have Donald Trump. He's just a topic all in himself. Um, and you have migration, immigration, um, fiscal policies, and other social policy issues. But what would you say is the biggest thing right now facing America that we need to sort out before it gets any worse?
I think we need to sort out what is going on with Israel and Palestine. Even figuring out about Russia and Ukraine. I mean, when's the last time that we've heard anything about Ukraine and Russia? Like, is the war still happening? Are we still giving them money? Like, where did the money go that we did give to them? Same thing with Israel and Palestine. Like, I mean, I don't understand how long this can go on for. I mean, the only reason why I think a lot of the big topic things too is Israel and Palestine mainly. Even though I think that Ukraine and Russia should actually be a big topic just because it's been going on for much longer than it should be, and barely any people talk about it. I mean, have you heard anything about it? Because I haven't. I mean,
Not in particular. It actually moves pretty nicely into my next question, which was going to be what is kind of your impressions? We're about, what is it, 9 months in now to the Trump administration. What are your thoughts on how they're doing? Specifically, you can talk more on the Ukraine and Palestine, all of those issues. Speak on the Epstein files too, if you would. But I no, personally, I haven't heard much other than I was pretty disappointed. I know he's sent money over to Ukraine again one time and had Zelensky over several times. So
yeah. Well, I'm not. I'm gonna go back to the what probably like is should be talked about most about America, so I can finish that, and then I'll come and I'll talk about the administration and the Epstein files and stuff. Just because I one more thing I wanted to say about the Israel and Palestine thing is that what I see like what a lot of Americans want to answer to as well is um why the war is still going on over there, but the reason why a lot of people can't figure it out is kind of weird to me because I feel like, I mean, it's just a lot of contradicting things happening, especially with like TikTok and, you know, APAC and all that. And, you know, there's two main, there's, I think it's two, but I know one main Republican that ever just says anything about is it really America first is Marjorie Taylor Greene. Like she says it straight like it is. She doesn't take any money from APAC whatsoever. She never has, never will, ever. She's a real good person when it comes to making sure she's for America first, I think. But the whole thing with just like Bibi Netanyahu and him just keeping it going, I feel like, is kind of insane to me. Just because, I mean, you see what's happening over there. I mean, it's just, but we can't ever get a straight answer. It's always like, um, you know, talk about the hostages and this and this and that. But it's like, what's the truth? What's the real? I mean, if we're giving all that money, we have given them a lot of money. At least be straight with us and just tell us the truth. But I think that's honestly one of the things that needs to be figured out and figured out quick, just because it's not only dividing, you know, people over there, it's also dividing people in our own country. Like you got people who are pro-Palestinian and, you know, pro-Israel, but they're focusing on that too much and they're not focusing enough on what's happening in America. And we have a lot of messed up things going on here, like the Epstein files. And like I'm going to get to that with in a second, but like we have our own issues that we need to work out. We have our own problems with I mean, instead of sitting there and giving money to different countries, how about, solve homelessness of veterans or something? Like figure out a different issue. There's tons of them here. Pick one, fix it, pick another, fix it, and quit worrying about what's happening over in other countries and giving them more and more resources when we need more resources, because we're giving out our resources way too much and we're not getting enough, and we never have. We're just a give, give, give. We gotta, kind of recoup some of the benefits, I feel like. Um, but yeah, that's what I think about that. And then for the administration, I think the administration's done a really good job. The Trump administration has done a really good job about transparency. I feel like there's been no other president that's ever been this transparent. I mean, even Caitlin Collins, the CNN reporter, she said the other day on a podcast I think she was on, that she has never seen a president so transparent.
Fair to say.
She, yeah, I mean, she's, and it's crazy for her to say it just because, I mean, her background and
And it
what
must be
she,
true. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, she pointed out too how, because she started out, I think, during, um, Trump's first presidency. I don't know when I just remember that she mentioned that she had started out, and then when it came to, she covered Biden's White House, and now she's covering Trump's. And she was saying that, no other I think she was actually mentioning Obama, how Obama would always do like his whenever he was signing bills, like how they bring the press in the Oval Office and they're all in there and they're just basically there for a PR stunt and just showing off what they're signing. She was saying how Obama did not like shouting questions, like he would never answer any reporter that would shout at him. But she was saying how Trump does, like Trump kind of changed the whole media perspective. Like he knows how to play the media, he knows how to talk media. He has been media trained to ends meet. Like he knows how to deal with them. And I think that's a really good thing to have. And what's been very successful is just with the transparency aspect, just because uh, I think a president who can handle and sit there and handle shouting questions off the rip is a truthful president, a strategic president, and knows what he's doing, and not just sitting there and answering a simple question on what type of ice cream he's had that day for lunch or whatever, because that's all they would ever ask him. But with Trump, they actually ask complicated, difficult questions, and but guess what? He always has an answer. They wouldn't dare ask that to Biden, what they ask him or ask any of the president, I don't feel like. But so yeah, that's one of the major things I'm proud of this administration on, is just transparency, because for so long, even during COVID, we were like, when are we going to hear anything next? Like, what's happening? You never knew. It was just kind of a surprise always, and just a guessing game. And then also too, just with the border, I mean, obviously we've seen what's been going on. The border is closed now, thankfully, like it should have been a long time ago. So I'm very proud of what he's done to protect, not just close a border, but I'm very proud of what he's done to protect Americans. He's kept his word with that and with a lot of different other policies.
Yeah, I'm
And
going to
I,
stop you right there
yeah,
because I want you to explain something while
yeah.
we're on the topic. The border could have been closed. I mean, 4 years ago at the beginning of the Biden presidency, they opened it on purpose. Why did they do that?
So the reason why, and I'm not going to sit there and be like, I mean, no, it is true. They opened the border on purpose.
Hmm.
And it was more than just like, I mean, and I wish I could have saw it more. Like I wanted to go to the border when all of it was happening, and I wanted to go and like make a video and like see just what was happening and record and just take it in. But the reason why that border was open is one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. Like I don't understand it, to be honest. I don't have an answer, a straight answer at least. I don't have a specific just one like this is why it was open on purpose, but I will kind of give you like a gist of it. But I think that what it was they were trying to, I'm trying to think of a way to put this, make it easier for, I mean, they wanted obviously for make it easier for immigrants to come in, but they also were trying to get more voters because they're obviously going to vote for Biden at the time and Kamala, who was coming in. But I mean, they wanted it. I mean, a lot of them were their supporters. That was their supporters, and they were importing them because they knew deep down that they did not have it in the bag. Like they knew that the election was going to turn out a specific way. Like it was predictable, too predictable. And I'm not saying it was exactly just for, oh, we're going to open the borders so we have can import people to vote for us. Like I don't think it was just that. But personally, I do think that one of the main reasons why it was left open is just because they wanted to have more people come into America. But I think there was honestly a deeper, like, behind the scenes thing going on with that no one will ever know about. Like, you won't know, I won't know. A lot of people will not, all of America probably will not know. But they had something in mind that they wanted to have happen. And I mean, who knows what it is? It could be way worse than just having people come into our country. But obviously too. I mean, it probably didn't help the fact that like uh, Biden was in business dealings with his son. You remember that all the type
Mhm.
of all that scandal that was going on.
Hunter
So
Biden
it could be,
laptop, all of that.
yeah, that I mean, it could be honestly something to do with that. Who knows? But I think one of the main things was just like trying to get more people into America. Like for the only reason I can think of, and I want you to tell me what you think too, is because they wanted more voters. But I want to know what you have to say too about that because that's not really anything people talk about. That I mean, it's been talked about, but everyone has that same answer as I do. A lot of the time. So I want to know what you have to say if it's different.
No, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think it was the most obvious case of voter fraud of all time. I think the fact that the 2020 election was stolen in the first place with innumerable counts of voter fraud via mail in ballots and dead people voting and dogs voting. I think it was just an extension of that. They started in 2020 to steal the election, and then they continued through 2024. Fortunately, they were unsuccessful, but I think it was, I mean, exactly as you said. I think they were trying to pack voting booths and get people that didn't have. I mean, there was documented cases of one of my favorite. Let me back up. One of my favorite arguments from the left and Democrats are when they say, "Well, it's not legal for a legal immigrant without an ID to vote." And they seem to forget that literally there was voting laws that they were trying to pass that they called it racist to have to require an ID to vote.
You know, I actually forgot about that.
Yeah,
But
it
yeah, now I remember.
100%
Yeah.
was the clearest form of voter fraud and trying to steal an election that I've ever seen. And something really interesting, if you should go back and do your own research on this, I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but post 2020 election, one of the things that really, really radicalized me towards the right, if you go back and you look at the numbers in the past, like 8 elections or something, the number of people that voted Democrat and Republican on the winning side, like I'm just going to make up a number here, but say if the winning side had 200 million, or we only have 350 million people in America, so we'll say 100 million, and then the losing side had 90 million, it was like the number to win has always been like 100 million. Versus when they won in 2020, the number was like 28 million. Like it was something ridiculous. Like the numbers were impossible that they won by that much.
Yeah.
So anybody listening, I would encourage you to go check that out for yourself. Don't take my word for it. Don't take Samuel's word for it. Go check it out yourself. Do your own research. But
Yeah,
yeah,
because
I
where
think
all
you
where they
definitely
all
nailed it
go?
there.
Like, where did all those
Yeah,
people
and then
go all of a
this
sudden?
next
They
election,
weren't in this next
the numbers
election.
are back to normal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because they got caught and they knew they
Did that
got
many
caught.
people, I was about to say, did that many people just like not show up? Did they just die all of a sudden? Like, nah, that's not,
No, there's no
that
way.
isn't, there's no way. I mean, you, especially not even just looking at those two, if you go back and you look forever, there's always been consistent same amount of numbers, like who've winning side, losing side. And all of a sudden it was like way up and then like, normal. So, I mean, yeah, I agree with you on that too.
Yeah. Final couple questions here. I feel like 2020 and COVID was, along with the general awakening of the population, I feel like it was the death of mainstream media. Your CNN, MSNBC, um, even Fox News are all kind of dying slowly. And I think the battleground has really moved to social media, and it's empowered people like yourself to go out and create this content that is educational, and it's created a space where Instagram and TikTok are no longer just places for mindless entertainment, but places where people can go enrich their political beliefs, challenge themselves, learn, grow. Do you agree with that? Do you think that mainstream media is dead, and do you think that it's ever going to have a revival, or do you think that we've fully moved to the battleground of social media?
No, yeah, like I definitely think that, mainstream media, for one, sucks. They're dishonest and they're just overall just clickbaiters a lot of the time. Like they just want to, they put out a headline and like it's not even true. And then they have to retract it and then they get sued. I mean, you look at what Donald Trump's done. They've wrote pieces and then he sues them and then he wins because what they did was wrong. So yeah, I do definitely think that the mainstream media is like, I don't think it's, I mean, it's definitely dead, but I think it's dying too. And I think that people are looking more into like on people on X. They're looking to real people that are like seeing it firsthand and just like understanding it better and not having any type of agenda behind it because you're not backed by a big corporation and told what to say on a teleprompter like a lot of these people are. You can be a Republican, you can be on the left, but if you're working at a mainstream media company, what they put on that teleprompter, you read. Like that's what it is. And so people just get tired of like the polished,
It's a great
fake.
point.
Yeah, they want to see the truth and quick. They don't want to see. They don't want to sit around, beat around the bush, have multiple like article threads, like oh, click this one, this one, and this one. No, they want to know what's happening, raw, unedited. Sometimes like they want to see what is happening, and also too with that, I think that the reason why the Charlie Kirk assassination was like um spread so fast and quick and people started to like, actually see the truth behind what happened with the assassination. If mainstream media couldn't even keep up with what was happening on X, they couldn't. Because people were posting, like that's what the beauty of, social media today is that you can put something out uh and then an hour later it could have, it could reach millions of people. So that's what I think's better about social media than mainstream media. Just because, like, even me, I don't sit around and watch the news. People think I do. Like, I've had a lot of my friends and stuff. They're like, have you seen this on Fox News? I'm like, no, I haven't because I don't sit there. I don't watch those people. I don't like watching them. They're boring for one. That's another thing too. Is
They
young
don't resonate
people.
with the youngest
Yeah,
generation.
it's just like I don't resonate with Brylan on a private jet. I don't resonate with reporters. I don't. I don't like them. A lot of the time, for one, they always are trying to do what they can to get more views on something that probably didn't necessarily need attention to. Um, so yeah, I think social media is on the come up. I think that it's not only on the come up. I think it is the new media and what people are trusting. Um, and I think that even with our generation, like we don't want to sit around and watch Fox, CNN, MSNBC. I mean, if I do watch the news, I mean, I will watch Fox News occasionally, but I will never touch MSNBC, CNN, anything like that. I'll post clips from them if I like. That's the only thing I have to post. And if I want to like show people what's going on that side versus Fox News, I will do that too. But I don't sit there and willingly watch any mainstream media whatsoever, and I certainly don't read any of their articles online either because I just don't. I prefer getting my news from people on X, and I think that it's just been actually a really good thing, is because it just keeps people more informed that way. Because honestly, too, people don't have time to sit around and watch mainstream media. It requires way too much effort, and in our believe it or not, in our generation, I know this like might sound kind of weird, but we don't have patience. Like to be honest, we don't want to sit around and like we want to get to the source, get it quick, and digest it and then, formulate an opinion. We don't want to sit around and have to wait, oh, 5 o'clock news, like this news, prime time, all that. We don't like doing that.
That's exactly right. I totally agree with you. And I think that's actually a product of social media and kind of a vicious cycle is we get everything in our 6 second clips. And
Yep.
as a result, that further kills off the mainstream long form stuff. So moving on, last couple questions here. Um, let's say there's somebody, you go back to yourself in 2020, someone's in that position, someone's in high school right now, they have strong political beliefs, they're finding their ideology, they want to start a social media account, similar, if not just like yours. What advice do you give them about not only growing their following logistically, but also with making sure that their ideology is true, beautiful, and on the straight and narrow?
Yeah, that's a really good question. My advice would be, especially in high school, because that's when I started, it would be, I mean, you got to be consistent, obviously. You can't give up. It's going to be very frustrating in the beginning. You're going to get a lot of hate. You're
Yeah,
also
sure.
going to get death threats. So you got to have thick skin for sure. If you don't have thick skin, I wouldn't recommend doing it. I wouldn't recommend even doing politics just because it's so polarized today. Like it's very hard. If you don't if you don't believe in yourself, if you don't if you're not confident in what you have to say, I'm not saying not to get into politics after I just said that, but I am saying that you might want to take a step back for a second, reevaluate, and then move forward because you never want to give up, actually. Like, you don't want to ever be like, oh, politics isn't for me, politics is for everybody. Because if everyone wasn't involved, then politics wouldn't be a thing. Um, but if I was back in high school, that would be having thick skin for sure would be one of the main things. And then logistically, I mean, if you or one of the main thing I don't do a really good job with it now just because I'm very busy too with college, but posting yourself talking and just being very personable with people is way better in the long run, and you get way more like you can communicate with people way better in that way versus just posting like a clip of the news because like I said, mainstream media is dying, it's dead, it's over with. They want real people reporting it to them on their phone quickly, easy to digest, and trustworthy. That's another thing too. If you want to do it, make sure that because I've had a lot of I'm not per and also too like no one's ever gonna be flawless. Like I know you said that how do people make sure that they're straight and narrow? It's very very hard, especially with in today because everything's so quick. People put out an X post and they'll be like, oh this, and you'll be like, wow, that's really people would want to know about that. But then you go and you're like, oh, that's not the truth. That's not real news. That's fake news. Because fake news can still happen on social media, just like the mainstream media is fake news.
It's hard to tell what's real and not real,
Yeah,
especially
it
with
is.
AI. I
Yeah,
mean,
it is. And it's not going to get any better. So you better make sure that you research your stuff you before you post. The way I've been doing it too recently is before I post, actually for the last year, because I've had a lot of issues ran in with Instagram with just like community guideline stuff. And so I posted one thing one time on my story from Donald Trump Jr. and it wasn't even my post. It was just I just reposted his post on my story. Well, they like shadow banned me, or not shadow banned, but they censored my not censored, but they like basically what's it called?
yeah,
Stop recommending my page to people for a whole year.
yeah,
So
I'd
there
say
for a
that's
whole
shadow banned.
so there for a whole year, like there was nothing really happening with my account at all.
Yeah.
But I didn't give up. I kept posting for the people that like it would only show it to my followers, I think. So like they would
Oh
still
man.
get engagement and stuff, and I didn't want to give up because like I want them to be able to see what's happening too. I would never want to just be like, oh, I'm not gonna post for a whole year and just leave them hanging. Can't
Yeah,
do that.
abandon your followers.
Yeah, yeah. But one of the big things would be think 5 times before you post. Look at it 5 times before you post it. Because if you don't, you could run into some issues, you could possibly hurt your reputation as a person too. Like
Yeah.
People are very they're always looking for whenever you mess up. Always. Like there's always one person that are always looking for you to screw up, to mess up and say something that, just like with, I mean, we saw with Brylan, like if he did not really mean to post that, and if you really don't think he's gonna get any backlash for it, but then one person posted it, another person posted it, and then all of a sudden
Yeah.
you're all over Twitter and X,
Right.
like you're all over the place, news articles, something you might not like. If Brylan would have stopped and took five and thought from five different perspectives before he posted it, he probably wouldn't have posted it. So you just got to put yourself in like different people's shoes. I say five different people's shoes, um, and those five people can be your own like thing you come up with, but definitely in five different points of views at least before you post it to make sure that it's trustworthy, the truth for sure. And just like, how you want yourself to be reflected on other people. And then the last thing I'll say about that is, like I got to do a better job at it. It's very you get caught up, it's very hard, but I haven't posted really that many talking head videos in forever. But when I did do it, and whenever I was actually, communicating and like creating a relationship with the people, I won't just call them followers, but like, with those amazing people that all had the same mindsets that I do, as we all do. Whenever I'd post talking head videos and just communicate in a very personable way, I saw way more like people who would reach out and be like, "Hey, I see you doing this. I see you doing that. I'm very happy to see someone actually talk about this or that, and stand up for what's right." So at the end of the day, I wouldn't say censor yourself. I wouldn't say hold yourself back, and I wouldn't say be like afraid, because you can't be. You can't live in fear. But I would say to make sure that you got thick skin and you know what you're talking about 100%.
I mean, that's great advice. I think, especially along those lines, focusing on quality is one of the most important things I've seen of at least people that I go and follow. Is if you go out and you produce something of quality and you build a relationship and you're providing something of value to a follower, that's how you're going to get more follows. Especially, I feel like there's this thing, I think followers is actually a very aptly named thing, because if you want to have a follower, you have to be a leader. So
That is so
are you
true.
worth leading? Like,
That's what I was gonna say too. I
you
didn't
have
mean to
to be
cut you
someone that's
off.
worth following. Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
I
go
didn't
ahead.
mean to cut you off, but also too, like followers don't necessarily mean anything. And a lot of people are like, "Oh, I want to get this many followers, like this many followers." Me personally, especially, it's a different story if you're building like a fan page or like,
Yeah.
I mean, followers is a good thing and like you promote it that way, like that's fine. But for my personal brand, I don't really necessarily look and be like, "Oh, I have this many followers. I'm not happy with this. I want to have this many followers." Like, because it doesn't really matter if you have 500,000 followers, but they don't like you, they don't believe in what you say, you're not helping them in any way, you're not providing them value, they're just inactive, like they don't do anything, then their work that just means nothing. But if you have like say, 50,000 followers that are, believe in you, like appreciate you and trust you, those 50,000 followers are way better than having more but they don't do anything. Personally, I don't think the number of followers matters, but you do have to be a leader. And it's not necessarily about them following you, I guess is where I'm getting at, because it's not like, oh, like, oh, I'm a fan of you, like blah blah blah. It's more of like creating community, I
Meaningful
guess is what I'm,
change. Yeah.
yeah. So like for me, I don't want to just have people follow me just because they think that, oh, I'm like, I don't want them to be like, oh my gosh, I like this dude a lot, like blah blah blah. That's fine, but I'd rather them follow me for the community behind it and like the movement building behind it, behind the scenes, and just like, because it's not just like, oh, just a follower. It's a person. It's a, most of the time an American, a voter, a taxpayer, a mother, a father, you know, a brother, a sister. So what I'm meaning by that is just like, I mean, it's better to build a community than it is to sit there and think of it from like a followers aspect. Like, oh, I want this many. It's not just a number. And I think that's where a lot of people get, you know, kind of run into issues is whenever they're just doing it just for followers and money and fame or whatever. Because at the end of the day, whenever you do it for those three things, it's always going to collapse. It's never going to be a long run thing, because the truth will come out. Your true colors will show, and it's just not worth it.
Exactly right. All right. Well, last thing here. I want to wrap up soon here in the interest of time and keeping the episode digestible. But
Yeah.
um, one day, you and me we're both going to retire. We're both going to die, and we'll move on, and hopefully, we'll be remembered by a few. But with those few people that you want to make a deep, lasting impression on, what do you hope that you leave behind legacy-wise and remember you? And what are your plans here for kind of the future? What are you hoping to do? Do you want to get into politics? Do you want to do something else? Kind of take me through what you see yourself doing in the next 5 to 10 years, and then further down the line, what you hope to leave behind.
Yeah. So for me, I want people to remember me as being a trustworthy person. That's one of the biggest things, especially for me. Like, I just want to be trusted. I want to be a person that people can, rely on, and I want them to be able to talk to me about anything. I don't want anyone to ever think that like they can never say something or talk to me about something. I've actually changed a lot from that type of thing because I used to be very hardcore, like very to where the point where I thought that my opinion was, I never could. I guess the way to put it is I never could listen to people. And coming to college actually taught me how to listen to people. That's one thing that I do learn from college because, I mean,
Only disagreement with Charlie Kirk.
yeah, I mean, because I don't think that college, like, you're not probably going to remember how to do like a lot of your classwork. Like, you're not going to use that a lot of the time in the workforce, but it teaches you how to, live alone, survive, meet friends, become social, and learn how to listen to people. Because I didn't come to college thinking, oh, I'm coming here to, learn all this information. Like, no, it teaches you how to do those things, and I'm appreciative of it because I've learned how to listen to people, open up, and hear their opinions, and not yell at them back. Like, that was one of my biggest issues was I would always try to trump what they had to say, and I never could listen. But a lot of that had to do with ignorance and just thinking that I knew everything when I didn't. Nobody knows everything. And now I know that, thankfully. It's helped me a lot. But that's one of the things I want to be, known as too, is just being able to understand where people are coming from, whether your, opinion is right or wrong. Like, I want to help you understand why you believe what you believe. But if you can come to me and you can say like, oh, I believe this and this, and you can back it up with facts and evidence, I appreciate that way more than you just coming to me and then just saying some crazy stuff and then not being able to back it up. Because then obviously I'm going to, not necessarily just be like, oh, you're wrong, because I've come a long ways from that. But I want people to understand that they can come to me, say what they have to say, and I'm not just going to be like, oh, no, you're wrong, like blah blah blah. Your opinion doesn't matter. Like, I don't believe that. But so those are basically like what I really want to be remembered as, and a hard worker mainly too, because I mean, everyone loves a hard worker, and just, I mean, that's one of my biggest things I think of when it comes to people too, is just like if you're a hard worker, trustworthy, and you're easy to talk to, you're pretty much going to be pretty successful in anything that you can do, because those are the three most important things to a lot of people. And then, what was your other question? Was that pretty much it?
Yeah, I think you covered it there.
Okay.
So,
And I thought it was something else. I can't remember.
or maybe tell
It was
me,
one more.
are you wanting to get into politics one
Oh
day
yeah.
in kind of a like actual physical capacity in a job?
Yeah. So I'm actually I mean, I go to the University of Alabama, and I'm in SGA here, so I'm a senator here currently for the College of Business. But I do want to get into politics after I graduate. I don't know when exactly because I want to still like grow a business and, be able to enjoy all the things that comes with after you graduate and you're getting to your first job and make some money and you know do some meaningful things still on top of that. So I'm not saying that, oh, after I graduate I'm going to run for office, but eventually it will happen, and I don't want to wait till I'm 70 and 60 years old like a lot of these people do, just because that's another problem too, and that's for another time. But I mean, that's a big issue in our country is we have all these people who just sit good people who just sit back and don't do anything because for one they've seen how, I mean, Trump's been attempted to be assassinated, and you got Charlie Kirk who was assassinated. So people live in fear. So people don't want to put themselves in those positions because they have families, they have lives, and they don't want to just end it. And it's kind of sad too how like that is how it is, unfortunately. But yeah, I do eventually want to run, and I could not do presidency. Don't want my life put out there like that. Don't want to risk myself that far. But um I mean, I would definitely do like, state senate, like senator, like governor, probably highest I would go. Just because also too, I love politics, I do, but I love even more the like holding the people in positions um accountable. I like that more than anything. Like if I could just, that's probably what I'm going to look into as well, is just like before I do run for office, like I'm just making sure that I hold elected officials accountable, because a lot of people kind of just let like some of the things they do just slip underneath the rug. And I think that's really important to hold them accountable. And so that's what I like more than anything. Like I do love politics, but I like the media side of things. I like to like inform people. But yeah.
All right. I love that, man. Well, thank you for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure. Before we go, tell them where they can find you. What are your handles and what accounts do you run? One more time.
Yes. So my handle is just my name at Samuel Fisher on Instagram, and then on TikTok it's at the Samuel Fisher, and then on X it's at Samuel FF Fisher. So it's got two F's instead of just one. And then I have Caroline Levitt HQ, which is Caroline Levitt like highlight page. So yeah, those are the three. That's the main accounts of mine.
All right. Thanks so much, man. Can't wait to see you in politics later on down the road. And we'll see you later.